morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Coffee with the Critters. Sorry, I'm a tad bit late this morning. 4 minutes. My apologies. I'm really good at cutting things really close. Hey, Tracy, good morning. So I'm keeping an eye on a potential behavior concern, so I'll watch it behind me. Good morning, Dawn. Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Snow. We are out here this morning with Snow and Quincy and all the parrots. Hey, Jeannie, good morning. Good to see everybody. My morning mug, Raven Lunatic, given to me by, hey, Sylvia, the awesome Pam Hennessy. From DC. She is the one that, good morning, Sharon. Good morning, Ray. She's the one, hey, Crystal. I'm not gonna be able to get through my sentence. Good morning, Deb. Pam Hennessy, hi, Holly, is the one that put me in touch with Lena. Lena is the person from North Carolina where I went down, good morning, Jody, where I went down to get snow. Good morning, Carol. Morning, everybody. Welcome to Rocky. It's gonna get loud, but that's what we're all about. Hey, Pat. Good morning. This is. I got a notification from Facebook. Good morning, Lydia. I got a notification from Facebook the other day. Hey, Kelly, that said you have completed your 500th live stream. That was about 5 days ago. Good morning, Sandy. That was about 5 days ago, and we've been doing a long week of live streams. Several live streams, sometimes even 2 a day. So I'm sure we're probably up to about 515 live streams so far. Good morning, Amanda. So, hey everybody, my name is Lara Joseph, owner of the Animal Behavior Center. We are an international educational center. There's a reason I say that. We are an international educational center that focuses on teaching people through our live streams and our live stream services about working with animals using positive reinforcement and applied behavior analysis. Good morning, Ashley. So there's a reason I call ourselves the other Ashley. Hi, an international educational center. Thanks, Jody. I appreciate that, because we're getting a lot of people contacting us that are finding out about us locally, because we are an international service. We don't focus just on local business. We don't even have a sign at the road, and that's on purpose because most of our business isn't even in Sylvania, Ohio, or Northwest Ohio. We have clients from good morning, different continents: Finland, Australia, Mexico. I guess that's maybe not a different continent. Are that? Glasses are on today. Working with Rico, environmental event. Okay, see that hesitation? That's body language to pay attention to. That means something. So most animals interact with us through body language. We were talking about this last week, Coffee with the Critters. And yesterday's live stream, thank you, Jeannie. I appreciate that. Yesterday's live stream, we did a Q&A. I believe it was in level 2. We were talking about body language, and that is an animal's main form of communication. Good morning, Emily. But anyways, the reason I call ourselves an international educational center is because we are not a zoo. A lot of people want to come through and take a look at the animals. Well, we're called the Behavior Center for a reason, because we're dealing with a lot of behaviors. I'm looking at one right over my shoulder with a crow. Sorry, I'm always watching. There we go. Yeah, so we do live streams, weekly private live streams in our projects and in our memberships. And a lot of you that are already on here know that because you're project members and members of the Animal Behavior Center. So I also was told that sometimes when I use the words applied behavior analysis, it scares people away. Because they don't understand what it is. That is what our service is all about. We take the science of behavior and bring it to people in an everyday format and understandable. So what applied behavior, I just don't not like using it. Hey, Michelle. Good morning, Haley. I don't like not using it because, Therese, because that's my way of saying the work that we do is science-based. It's not assumptions. Rocky, what are you doing? Yes, I'm looking at you. And I also say we use applied behavior analysis and positive reinforcement because we don't use just positive reinforcement. That is impossible. So if you're searching for somebody, when they say we use nothing but positive reinforcement, they don't really understand the science of behavior. So that's why I say we are an international educational center because we do teach people all over the world. And I say that we're an educational center. We are not a zoo. We are not here to have, hey, Annalisa. We're not here to necessarily have people interact with the animals. Hi. Even though we do have certain events where we do that. And that's why I say we teach people using applied behavior analysis. That's the science behind the behavior, and positive reinforcement. Because we do focus on most positive, least intrusive. I got somebody at my feet. I am going to pay attention to that bark. Because today we're going to talk about enrichment for problem behaviors. And I've got a couple of different pieces of enrichment here, and I've got a lot of behaviors. The crow in the back seems to want out of their cage. No, he doesn't. That would scare the living daylights out of him. He's not ready for that. No, what he's doing, good morning, Pam. He's looking out the window, and a lot of times when he gets excited, he'll hurry up and fly back and forth, but that's all contextual. No, Kronos wouldn't know what to do if he came out of his cage. Hi. So do you see what I'm doing here? I'm training. If you guys can recognize that or not. I'm shaping change, which is my glasses. He's not comfortable with my glasses. Hey, Mano, good morning. Welcome. And thank you, Lydia, for sharing this live stream. I appreciate that. Anyways, so I'm shaping change, and you guys hear me say all the time, keep your animal used to change, because it will help with problem behaviors. And how do you identify problem behaviors? I do want to talk about this real quick. For those of you that are members and in the Parrot Project, you know exactly what I'm doing. Oh, thanks, Kelly. We have enough animals here that it is, everybody's on board here with the enrichment, behavior, training. Glasses didn't come off that time. So let me talk about the word problem. What does problem mean? Problem is it a problem behavior because it's a problem to us? It's an inconvenience to us? That I almost didn't put that word in there, but then I thought, no, I want to keep that word in there because I want to talk about it. Hey, Sylvia, thanks for sharing this. Nice job, Tipsy. The word problem. Why is it a problem? Is it because it's a problem? Hey, Eva and Donna. Is it a problem behavior because it's an inconvenience to us? A lot of times when people will come to me, hey, can you help me? Can you fix this? I was like, well, I can help your animal. I can maybe fix, I don't know if I can fix you, because that's what I need to address this behavior concern. A lot of times you won't hear me call them problem behaviors. You'll hear me call them behavior concerns. Pam says she went to Gordon Food Service and bought the little cone cups for my companions. They love getting their treats out of them. Thank you. You are very welcome. I am very glad to hear that. And good morning, Bobby. So one of the things we're going to talk about today is foraging. Speaking of paper cone cups, and I am keeping a close eye on right now little Miss Snow and what she's interacting with. So Sharon, I know you're on here. You will forever hear me say this, Sharon. Are you always training? Yes. That animal can see, hear, or smell you. You are training it. What are you training it to do? So I just said in a live stream the other day that when I do my live streams, I am always watching the animals behind me. I'm training right now. Because behavior is always happening. And I'm watching. Is that a behavior I want to see continue? If so, reinforce it. Positively reinforce it. So, and is that a behavior I want to see go away? There's the awesome Sharon Collins. So I'm watching Snow this morning, and those of you that are members and in the Snow Project know exactly my concerns going on with her. I have a, I want to say major concern because it's taken a lot of my time and attention and focus, but I always say as well, hi. The more intelligent the animal, the harder it is to keep. Define intelligence. In the pig project yesterday, I did a live stream working with a pig, a rather large pig that was charging me. So I'm always watching, and I need to, what I was saying yesterday in the pig project is, pigs are extremely manipulative creatures. Very. One of the most manipulative I have ever worked with. That is why, good boy, I love working with them. They are complex animals. Snow is giving me a run for my money. But those complex behaviors, crow, parrot, pig, working dog, those complex behaviors are what helps keep me using my mind, using applied behavior analysis. Your dog is playing with his Wilbur right now too. Good. Claire, thanks for sharing this live stream. So I'm always using applied, everything I've learned in my master's classes in applied behavior analysis. Hi. Okay. That is something I need to pay very close attention to. If I don't, I'm going to get my finger bit. So I'm watching this. I got to do something real quick because engagement is a reinforcer for her, and I like seeing this behavior. So those that don't know, this is Snow, our deaf and blind puppy. I am trying to prevent and very undesired behavior from happening, so I'm going to reinforce play by engaging with her. So I want the dogs engaging with her. I'm identifying some behavior concerns here and trying to find out what the reinforcer is. I'm reinforcing Rico real quick. Okay, does that make sense, you guys? Sorry, I am training because the undesired behavior is getting ready to happen. I want to talk about, I want to make sure she stays engaged so I can keep talking. Hi. Problem behavior. Is it a problem because it's an inconvenience to us? I prefer to use the word, hey Patricia, thanks for sharing. I prefer to use the word behavior concern. Okay, so the camera's not down far enough, but I just used differential reinforcement. I didn't have to tell her what not to do. I just withheld the reinforcer. She jumped on me for attention. Then she laid down. So the tap on the chest is the bridge because she cannot see and she cannot hear. And then I'm delivering the reinforcer. So one of the reinforcers with her is contact, touch. I can easily turn that reinforcer into an aversive. Those of you in the SNOW project, which is all about using applied behavior analysis, knows that I'm working on her accepting her neck and head being touched. So I don't want to, awesome. Sorry guys, I'm always training. Nice. I don't even have to engage. They are going to engage with each other. There is a reason I only have Quincy and Snow out here today, no Levi. Because I've got a behavior concern happening here. Let me tell you what it is. Hang on, I got to reinforce this behavior behind it. The reason I don't like to use the word problem is because a lot of times people say it's their problem because it's an inconvenience to them, this problem behavior this animal is giving. And that is also the reason I don't like to, a lot of times will say they're having a problem with their animal because it's an inconvenience to them. That is also why the reason it ties in with the word pet. That's why I don't use the word pet. Instead, thank you, good job, I use companion animal because pet insinuates that the animal is there for us when it's convenient, when we want to interact and pet them. And that is one of the main reasons behind why there's behavior concerns. So I know you guys, yeah, Coco loves Quincy. One of the behavior concerns, the major behavior concern I'm working on with Snow right now is repetitive running. I'm trying to identify what exactly is going on. I do not want to see an animal consistently turn and run in circles. She was starting to do that. Hey, Joe, good morning. Glad to have you on here. She was starting to do those repetitive circles. I don't want to see that. So if she's searching, I'm going to reinforce. I don't want to see those repetitive behaviors because I'm seeing it as a form of frustration and anxiety. Get another toy. Now, enrichment, things that the animal likes to engage in and learn from mentally and physically. She is not going to be too engaged with this ball for too long, especially if, is the ball the enrichment? Probably not. It's probably the interaction with the ball with me that's the enrichment. So she's sitting at my feet, and she's searching for me. So that's telling me that the enrichment is the engagement. And I can tell a lot of these, you guys know that I focus on animals with abnormal repetitive behaviors. I mean, they're the ones that get my attention first. So attention is a reinforcer here because she has dropped her toy. I don't want to see that repetitive tail chasing, running in circles. My behavior concern with her was when she was doing the same repetitive running in the center all the time. That's when I was like, you guys, I think we have a behavior concern getting ready to develop. Why? Is this anxiety? Is this frustration? I know Ashley, Nellie, you brought up, is it boredom? I took a look at that. I think it's a mix of everything. So let me get to one of the pieces of enrichment that I'm going to focus on. Okay, so this is simple. I'm going to use the other hand to feed Rico now because I've been using that toy. Hey Joe, if you're still on here, let me show you. There's your crow. There's Kronos. So we're getting ready to, there's Coco. We're ordering Coco a new cage. We're going to order him a cage, probably that size of Suki's. We're going to order it this week. And because Coco needs to get out of there. That's a temporary enclosure that we'll use for whatever animal comes in next for training. Anyways, enrichment can be really simple, but usually what I do, so I'm going to focus on a piece of enrichment. Quincy. Good job. Hang on, guys. Bear with me. This is when I determine, good morning, Steve, what type of enrichment I'm going to use for what animal, I look at if I'm going to use enrichment to change a behavior. One of the first things I do, identify the behavior. What's the reinforcer behind the behavior? So I think I've identified the behavior, the reinforcer behind the behavior with snow. This applies to any animal, okay? I don't want to see animals repetitively licking things. If I have an animal, that's a sign an abnormal repetitive behavior is developing. I don't want to see birds constantly doing circles in their cages. You know, that's one we have with Rocky. When we see that has a long history of reinforcement. Rocky is our 20-year-old Moluccan cockatoo. The longer that history of reinforcement, the longer it's going to take to change. But Ray, did your finger get stuck on the keyboard? The longer it's going to take to change, but not near as long as it took to develop in the first place. So this running in a pattern, That is starting to develop. I don't care, Ray, I'm just picking on you. That running in a pattern is starting to, it's being reinforced. And I don't want to see, what is going on back here? So I need to be careful because now I may be reinforcing a bark. And I said in the snow project the other day, I'm okay with that, depending on what it's for. So it's about balance and observation. So I need to give Snow something else to do. She is part of my live stream this morning because she is my main behavior concern right now. Nicole says her dog likes to lick the bed, the carpet, pillow, her bed till it's soaked, can't figure out why. I know there's several dog trainers on here this morning, Nicole. Could it be anxiety, frustration? I would need to know so much more from you about that, and why am I just hearing about that now? Because I know you're a member. So one of the first things I'm going to do, Nicole and everybody else, as my dog is pulling me away, identify the reinforcer. Why is the undesired behavior happening? What purpose is it serving for the animal? And then, make sure I still have Snow engaged back here, because in order to change a problem behavior, a behavior concern, you need to replace it with another behavior. In order for a behavior to extinguish, to go away, it has to be replaced with another behavior. I cannot emphasize that enough. So if I want Snow's, Quincy's got the ball. If I want Snow's repetitive behavior to change, I need to replace it with another one. My main concern is it's already being reinforced. Give it to me. It's already been reinforced, so there's a history of reinforcement starting to happen. So one of the things I will do, and you can apply this to any animal, one of the things I will do is and Nicole, with your instance, take a look. When does it happen? Is there certain times it happens? Sharon, thanks for sharing this live stream. Are there certain times it happens? That's contextual. That's when I start identifying, okay, like this behavior concern is happening when I believe I've identified the reinforcer, lack of engagement with a person or other animal. And I'm 99.9% sure that is exactly what it is. So, and probably also lack of something else to do. Like you guys hear me say, I have a 10,000 square foot beautiful center out there. It is not beautiful if it's filled with animals developing behavior concerns. And you hear me say, I gotta reinforce this because she just checked in with me. Love you, love you. Reinforcement and reinforcer identified. Steve, thanks for sharing the live stream. You always hear me say, I can have a big, beautiful center, but if it's not enriching for the animal, the size of the center isn't the importance. It's what it contains. Like you hear me say when I have Rico out there, he flies all over the place for small periods of time. That's Snow hitting my tripod. Hey, cameraman, you want to take it easy over there? But where does Rico choose to be? On my head. Enrichment identified. He wants to be with me. There's balance there. So one of the first things I will do after I identify why the problem behavior exists, or if I'm still trying to find out why it exists, is what else does the animal like to do that is good for you and good for everybody involved? Snow loves to rip apart boxes. So we can start there. And then what I'm gonna do is shape that complexity. If I just throw this down, this is probably enough for her to sit down and destroy. Let's see. So, but this box is going to become very boring, very fast. Let's see. Quincy, can you sit? What's this? Okay, so she seems to really good girl. Don't forget, Quincy gave me the behavior I asked. I need to reinforce that. Snow enjoys chewing apart boxes. So, one of the first things I need to do, hang on, I need to reinforce the crow, or reinforce the behavior the crow is getting me. Show your tape. Good. So this, she's going to start destroying boxes pretty quick. I need to give her boxes with more complexity. And I also have right here, have pate for her. Quincy's like, yeah, I know you got the pate. I was going to line the inside of that box with pate, but I don't necessarily have to. This is Snow's E-pen. She really no longer needs it, but we still put her in it for her safety because she can't see or hear. And this is what she's in when we're not here. And you'll see there's a destroyed box in there, and there's foraging toys. So I'm gonna have several approaches with Snow, several, to change this behavior. One of the things we have done that I put on the board from the get-go is Snow needs at least 10 minutes on the hour, every hour, of engagement with a person. Crystal and I came out here the other day, and Crystal Phelps and Karen Pratt. Karen is the manager, and Crystal Phelps is our social media director. Have a timer out there, so they know that every hour, boom, at least go engage and play with Snow. Oh, you still want the pate. So we're also going to start making her forage for more of her food. And the type of food we feed here, let's see, which one? You take that one. And you want this one? So we will take their food and stuff it in different types of toys. See this ball? I love this ball because food can be shoved, treats can be shoved in those tiny crevices. So like that. There's your complexity, guys, because this is going to be easy to get out. But this is a little more complex, and I bought this ball because of these crevices right here, not necessarily that right there. Makes sense? So you see how quick that box was destroyed? That's why I say bump up your level of complexity, because if you keep giving enrichment that's too easy. Now we've got some attention. And it's not going to be long before, if I don't give Quincy something to do, she's going to come up and steal this. I already did give you something to do, you turd. Here, over here. Okay. I got behavior I want. Bumped up the level of complexity. So she's foraging for those treats I put in those crevices. See back here, got behavior I want. Quincy is a resource guarder, meaning she will bite, lunge, growl, and attack another animal to protect things of high value to her. This is training, you guys. I gave Quincy her foraging ball over there, away from her. Where do you find those? I've been looking for like that for my dog and can't find one. You're in Adrian. Who are you up in Adrian? Crystal. Okay. Crystal, I think because due to lack of time, I go to Petco a lot. That's probably where I got it. But a lot of times I will search online for different types of enrichment. And that's something else I want to talk about too. Here, sorry, a lot of times, she's foraging at the base of the camera, the tripod. A lot of times we have to make our own enrichment. Yeah, and I don't necessarily always shop at one store. I keep moving around and looking around. I know the avian community has come a long way as far as enrichment. It used to be very basic, very simple. I travel a lot and give a lot of presentations on foraging and the importance of foraging. Every animal needs to be foraging for its food. Every animal. And a lot of times, she may have to go to the bathroom. Trying to remember what I was saying. I have to make a lot of my enrichment because enrichment is based on the individual animal. Has anybody noticed that Suki is not barking today? Enrichment is based on the individual animal. And also a lot of places, I mean, since I've learned about how a lot of places will use only natural enrichment, I am not okay with that. And let me tell you why. So finding out what the animal does out in the wild and then bringing those and only those elements in, that is not enough. That is not enough because you're taking an animal and it's not in its natural environment. An animal under our care needs to have, I am always competing with Mother Nature here, and I love it because she has the bar so high for me, I will never be able to reach it. I understand that, but I'm gonna try like hell with everything I have. For animals in my care, Nicole, thanks for sharing this. For animals that are in my care, I will try to provide natural environment, natural enrichment. I do to a certain extent, but that's not my go-to because natural enrichment in an unnatural environment is not complex enough for the animal. Behavior concerns will develop. So provide the natural, but you better be thinking outside the box and be thinking about those 3 C's, choice, control, and complexity. I get very passionate talking about this because, hey Carrie, these animals give us so much pleasure. We need to give it back to them. There's an ARB right there that everybody in the Parrot Projects knows we're trying to change, and I'm trying to change it, and I'm changing it with enrichment. I'm watching Coco. So Coco tends to do that abnormal repetitive behavior when he sees something he cannot get to. I am watching that, okay? when something frustrates him. I am watching that because I don't want to reinforce that frustration, because that frustration can turn into some serious behavior concerns. Those of you in the Parrot Project know that we're working on his screaming. Have you seen how much that abnormal repetitive behavior has changed since he's been here? He's been here 4 months. Remember how intense it was when he first got here? And it was, look for everything. An abnormal repetitive behavior is a repetitive behavior that would not exist with an enriched environment. It's a repetitive behavior usually due to lack of appropriate enrichment, seeing things that they want and they can't get to. So what we do, Rocky here has that ARB, that circle. It's still here, guys. It's still here. I will probably never be able to get it to go away. Let me rephrase that. I could probably get it to go away. It is not going to stay away if I don't keep changing his environment. If I don't keep changing his environment and keeping him mentally and physically engaged and learning from something. That is why we spend so much time on enrichment here. There's so much I was going to get to today that this is full. My long list of what to get to that I'm not going to get to. But I wanted to tell you, give that animal a job to do. Snow is a working dog. I need to bump up serious levels of enrichment and keep them changing. Like you guys always hear me say, predictability has its place. I even wrote a paper on that, an article for a magazine. Predictability has its place. I will use it in changing behavior concerns, but with predictability comes boredom. And enrichment, also studies show that animals prefer engaging with enrichment that changes shape. The reasons are many. Animals also prefer enrichment that makes sound. Think about that with a deaf dog. So something it can feel, something that makes sound and changes, and lights have also been used. If somebody reminds me, I will. Predictability has its place. If somebody reminds me, Sharon, Eva, Ray, anybody, Karen, reminds me, I will share that article with you, okay? Because it's important. And there's Mano, she works with a lot of raptors. When I'm engaging with wildlife that's injured and cannot be released, in the beginning, I will be extremely predictable because that animal has a history of reinforcement of staying as far away from people as possible. If you have a wild animal coming up to you, behavior doesn't lie. Pay attention to it. But Mano, I'm going to go back and answer your question in a minute. But when I'm engaging with wildlife, I will be very predictable in the beginning because that animal needs to know training is communication. You're always training. If you're approaching that mew, that enclosure, you are training that animal. The key question is, what are you training it to do? Are you training it to fly away from you as fast as possible, or charge you, or come to you because you're pairing yourself with something of high value, which is called a conditioned reinforcer, which is why I am very predictable in the beginning. I am trying to shape myself being a conditioned reinforcer, meaning that I'm always paired with the positive. I am always paired with the positive. And pretty soon, if that animal consistently sees me coming, and every time I come, I'm delivering something of high value, whatever that is, not just food, then I am pairing that, pretty soon, the sight of me becomes a cue. Something good is coming. Yes, and then pretty soon I don't have to have that in my hand because I have earned that animal's trust. And now, and you'll hear me say this too, a lot of times in the beginning with an animal that doesn't want any type of interaction with me, if I consistently pair myself with the positive, pretty soon just the opportunity for that animal to be with me, to engage with me, becomes the animal's positive reinforcer. That is why I say, be your animal's deliverer of awesomeness. I find all the awesome things that the animal likes to engage with, and I take them and I stick them in my pocket, virtually. And every time I approach that animal, boom, there's one piece of awesomeness. Boom, there's another piece of awesomeness. I become the animal's deliverer of awesomeness. So when I say, Quincy, come, I need my 100-pound Rottweiler coming to me like that. I need that turkey vulture flying out of the raptors 30 feet when I say, I need you down here, Willie. And that is how I get predictable behavior, because I am always pairing myself with the positive. Once in a while, I have to go back and take choices away from that animal, restrain that animal, do things to that animal that it does not like. But because of my history of reinforcement, of always pairing myself with the positive, boom, that animal bounces back fast. I'll give you a real quick example. I was feeding Willie a new batch of rats that had come in, and I usually always inspect her rats. And this time, I went up and I was training her, and I fed her a couple rat pieces, and I went back and looked at the rats, and I saw something in the bag shining, and I looked, and they all had metal tags in their ears. Because wildlife rehab centers usually get a lot of their food donated from different facilities. Anyways, I was like, oh my God, I just fed her 2 rats with metal pieces in their ear. And those of you that know about birds know that they can die from metal toxicosis. So I was like, I need her to vomit now. And that is an instance where I did use a positive punisher. Will I use positive punishers here? Something the animal doesn't like? Yes, I will. That's why I never say I only use positive reinforcement. It's got a cool text. Anyways, that's why I never say I use positive reinforcement only, because I don't. I use positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, positive punishment, negative punishment. That is what the membership here is all about, is I tell you and I show you how to use these. Let me give you an example. I will use a positive punisher when the alternative of not using it is worse, all right? But note to self, this needs training. Don't keep trying to use this form of behavior modification, because it's going to blow up in your face. Yes, Carol, Willie's fine. I'm going to tell you the story. So what I did is, when I first started working with Willie 8 years ago, I couldn't even get close to her. Those of you that are in the membership, I just told you the story in the podcast that I just uploaded the other day. Thanks, Sharon. We have several people in here that are members of our Animal Behavior Center. Thank you for saying that it's awesome. I give it my all. We also have projects here where it's species specific. I give it my all. So anyways, I needed to make Willie throw up because she had metal in her crop, and it was probably going to kill her. So what I did, and this had such a cool message behind it, because when I first started training Willie, I couldn't get near her. It was all off-contract training, because she would engage with me in a way I didn't want her to, such as on my head, beak targeting to my hands, to my face, to my feet. So over the years, so here this was like 2 years ago, and I'm like, we've got to make her throw up. So I took everything that she was afraid of, and I know she had a history of being approached with a towel, because that towel was a conditioned reinforcer that she's going to get captured. So I was like, grab a towel. And one of the first things a turkey vulture will do if you scare them is throw up. They regurgitate. It's one of their Supposedly, it's supposed to be one of their defense mechanisms. And when they throw up, it's pretty nasty. It'll peel paint off of a car, literally. Right, Mano? Anyways, so I took that towel and I stood in front of her and tried to make her vomit. And she just looked at me like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to me? And I was like, you need to throw up. And then so I'm like, I'm taking the towel and I'm right in front of her. I'm like, you need to throw up. And she would not throw up. That is a sign of what a good job I've done at pairing myself with a positive. Because now I'm taking an aversive that she's looking at me is no longer an aversive. So then I was just like, we've got to capture her. And so I captured her like this, and her face was right here, and I was like, you got to throw up. So I'm taking her, and I'm dumping her upside down. I was like, you got to throw up. And she would not throw up for me. And so I said, I know one thing she's afraid of, and I'm not going to say it publicly. So we went and got that one thing and brought it out, and I took her, and I dumped her upside right in front of it. Blah! There come two mouse heads with ear tags in their ears, and I could not be happier. And I was like, thank you. And I let her go, and then I said, now watch this. This is the power of positive reinforcement. So I just took aversives and rubbed them in her face and scared the living daylights out of her. Go get my glove. So I went and got my glove and stuck it on my hand, and she was up in the rafters, and I went like this, and I was like, Willie, come. And she hesitated, and then I put my hand down, and I asked her again, Willie, come. And she flew back down to my hand, and I positively reinforced the hell out of that behavior. I grabbed pate, everything I could that she loves, raw eggs, and I was like, boom, 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 there you go. Thank you for trusting me. That is the power of positive reinforcement. And I did not get through even half of what I was going to, so we will do it for a future live stream. Thank you. This is probably our 516th live stream on Facebook. Thank you guys for all of your support. Thank you for all of your shares. I hope our readership our attendance every week increases. Last week Ray, did your finger get stuck on the keyboard again? Last week was our biggest live stream attendance. We had 109 people attending at once. So email us. Go to theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. That email comes directly to me when you contact us on our website, because if somebody's contacting us on our website, those of you that belong to the membership know that immediacy, boom, boom, is one of the events that makes a reinforcer of highest value. I will respond to you immediately. Go there to theanimalbehaviorcenter.com, click on contact us, let me know what you want to hear, and I will do my best to get it to you. So, Karen, am I forgetting anything? If you like the content of what you see here, we provide this numerous times a week in our private live streams through the Animal Behavior Center's membership program. We've got 2 levels, level 1, level 2. That is all about applied behavior analysis through our species specific. Hey, Christine, through our species specific projects. We have the crow project, the snow project, the pig project, the parrot project. The deaf dog project. So, anyways, if you like the work that we do, please share it. Thank you guys so much. Mano, I know I said I was going to answer your question and I never did. It's so far back in the live stream I can't find it now. I will go back and find it and answer it. Tracy says the membership has made me a better person dealing. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you. Thank you for everybody for your support. Contact us at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com and have a great rest of your weekend. All right, take care.